call Jar Binks.
Jar Binks is one of the most hated characters in Star Wars, right up next to Anakin in The Phantom Menace and Rose Tico. Now, there's a lot of reasons why people hate him. The way he walks, the way he talks, his personality, voice, and how he serves little to no purpose to the plot other than to just annoy the people in the audience. He's an awful character, that's basically what I'm saying. I think George did a little bit better of a job with Jar Jar in the Clone Wars than in the movies, but not by much. Now, I understand that he kind of has to be in the plot because he does a few things that's integral to the development of the story, but it's kind of iffy there. I mean, in The Phantom Menace, the Nabooians need the Gungan's army's help, and in the Attack of the Clones, he needs to give emergency powers to Palpatine, which eventually leads to the rise of the Empire. But we don't really need him to do that. Literally any other character could have done that in any other army. But, you know, whatever. They're kind of dumb movies, so you can't really get stuck on the details. But anyway, Jar Jar is a colossal failure as a character and is despised by pretty much anyone who calls themselves a Star Wars fan. So today we're going to be doing the incredibly stupid idea of trying to somehow fix him without getting murdered by a fan with a lightsaber dressed in a Jedi onesie. Let's get started. Okay, so what we're going to be doing is basically trying to figure out how to make Jar Jar likable, which I know is a monumental task, but I think it can be done. So I want you to think of a famous goofy side character that both serves as comic relief and also helps the hero out when they need it. Did you think of one? Yeah, there's about 1 billion. But the main one I'm going to be focusing on is Donkey from Shrek. And yeah, I know what you're thinking. Wow, can this video get any more cringeworthy and memey? Well, first of all, yes, the answer is always yes. Do not tempt me. And second of all, one of the reasons why Shrek is such a meme-worthy movie is because of its popularity and amazing characters, especially Donkey. We're introduced to Donkey the same way we are to Jar Jar, via they run into the hero after almost getting murdered. However, from that point on, the characters take wildly different paths. You see, any scene that Donkey and Shrek are in is amazing because the conversations that they have actually have some flow. Most of the funny lines that Donkey delivers are the result of Shrek saying something normal and then Donkey mixing some humor in. But with Jar Jar, it's the exact opposite. Any scene that he's in, the writers try to somehow make him the comic relief by having him react wildly or just say something stupid. Now, there is one scene where I actually like Jar Jar, and it's this one.
Where is it going?
Don't worry, the Force will guide us.
Oh, Maxie bit the Force.
See that? He basically just called the Jedi out on all of their stuff and that the Force is basically just bullshit. I love that. If he was that sarcastic the entire movie, we would have gotten an entirely different character. And that's how you write a good goofy side character. They're not always proactive, which means that they don't have to initiate most of the humor in the story. They just need to have a good, funny reaction that's organic to the plot and dialogue. So let's look at a scene where we're introduced to Jar Jar for the first time.
Oh, muy, I love you.
You almost got us killed. Are you brainless?
I speak.
The ability to speak does not make you intelligent. Now get out of here.
No, Mrs. Stay.
I don't think that there's a single person in the theater that was like, wow, what an interesting character. I can't wait to see how he develops throughout the movie. They were probably like, wow, this is a character that exists in my beloved space movies. I guess God is dead. You see, a better approach to achieve a humorous tone in the scene would have been for Jar Jar to have a sarcastic observational humor. Like, when Qui-Gon says,
You almost got us killed. Are you brainless?
Jar Jar should have been like, wow, really? Thanks for the observation, Sherlock. I could have been killed by that 12-ton hover tank moving at 30 miles an hour, tearing ass through the forest? I had no idea. Another example is when they're on the shop in Tatooine when little Anakin says this.
Hey! Hit the nose!
He could have been like, I'll bop you on the nose, you bowl haircut wearing little baby bitch. Maybe tone it down a bit, because, you know, it's a kid's movie and all, but, you know, essentially the same concept. You see, you don't have to have Jar Jar initiate every scene that you want to be funny to get some organic humor. You just need it to be natural. Just let the movie flow and stick some humor in whenever you can. You can have humor in Star Wars. In fact, it's really funny if you get it right. This scene is an amazing example of how you can include humor into a story naturally without disrupting the flow. So Kylo is freaking out again, and we can tell that he does it a lot, because this guy already knows what's going down and he doesn't want to put up with shit and just walks the other way. We're about an hour into the movie by this point, so we already know that Kylo has a hair trigger temper, so this is a pretty realistic scene. It's original, funny, and a prime example of what Star Wars humor should be. Now, you can call The Force Awakens a copy of A New Hope and everything, but you gotta admit, it's a funny movie, and they switch up the plot a good enough amount that it's not exactly a carbon copy. And it's still a pretty good addition to the saga. I mean, this is one of the most beloved franchises of all time, so you gotta give Disney a bit of a break. They're trying their best here. At worst, it's a decent movie with some good scenes. You gotta give them that. So, Jar Jar can be a good character, even a funny one too, but you gotta know what kind of character he needs to be, and what kind of humor he can employ that seems natural and organic to the plot and dialogue. Also, one last thing, fix his voice, please, just seriously, fix his voice. Seriously, Jar Jar's voice is just awful to listen to. It's somewhere in between nails on a chalkboard and listening to an audio tape where your family is getting murdered. Like, the other Gungans' voices are kind of bearable, even with the stupid way that they talk, so just give them a regular voice and not the high-pitched nightmare that we end up with. And that's how I'd fix Jar Jar. If you guys think I missed anything, which is probably very likely, this is just a monumental task and I'm taking on to try and fix this character, but you know, whatever. Just comment down below how you think this abomination can be fixed. And don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe.